Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the movie, and they discuss it. Today, we're talking about the 2011 film We Need to Talk About Kevin, which was directed by Lynn Ramsey. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik.
And Erik, we really need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah, seriously. That's can't believe I thought this was gonna be a comedy.
Dude,
Definitely.
you said, you're like, based on the poster and John C. Reilly in it, is it a comedy? I was like, oh, no.
We'll get into John C. Reilly, but like, man, this is one way to start off your Monday. Feel good movie of the day.
Ooh, I want to know, because I saw this, I think, like, right when it came out, but this is the first time seeing it, right?
I didn't know anything about it. And it was pretty you just want to brush your teeth to this movie, you know?
What do you mean?
It's just no, it's not like a happy movie at all. It's very disturbing. It's more of a psychological thriller than any horror, but it was just like I was like, I don't feel good after watching this.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's no part of this that's going to make you feel good about pretty much anything, honestly. Even the ending, like, nothing, you don't feel good about it, like, really anything. Did you like it, though?
It was a good movie. And I was picking up a lot of things they were doing. It's like it was disturbing, but like with grace, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Where it would leave it up to you to picture everything. Like you never see the killings, you never see the gerbil or whatever in the garbage disposal. You never see these things, but
Mm.
you never see like the childbirth. You never see what happens to the girl's eye, stuff like that. And it's like, it like leaves it up for you to imagine it.
Ooh, that's a good point. I actually didn't think of it that way. There's nothing. You don't see one
Yeah.
death in this, right? It's just you see the bodies afterwards, but you never see him actually doing anything.
Which is almost why I feel worse, like, I didn't have, like, closure.
Ooh, yeah,
So
yeah.
now I'm like, I really didn't feel good after this movie.
Yeah, man. It's so messed up. Really quick, do you ever see the movie The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin?
No.
And okay, so there's a movie came out, I think in like 1991 around there. It's like Macaulay Culkin's kind of like Kevin. He's like a murderer sort of thing, and he's just like tormenting his family and his cousin and his sister and all that shit. Really reminds me of this movie, but this is way darker than that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Kind of had some similar feelings to that. I think the thing that really makes this movie though, like it makes it work just 100% is the acting. Like,
Yeah.
it's a script that's good, and it's got some moments where it's kind of like, "Okay, like, what is going on? We keep getting these flashbacks," but Tilda Swinton is so believable in this role.
Yeah.
I
No, she was fantastic.
I can't think of anything I've seen her that's, like, so I don't know, just, like, the smallest little details in everything she does, her performance was unbelievably fantastic, and same with John C. Reilly. So contradictory of each other, but so good.
Yeah. Exactly. And John C. Reilly, he's got such a range of acting. He's very versatile where, he plays a lot of different roles, but it always comes back to comedy for me, just in general. I mean, he's Dr. Steve Brule for crying out loud. Can't go that's the funniest shit ever. I love Steve Brule. Yeah, he's he did a great job too.
Alright, so, like, I guess, like, let's walk through the movie a little bit. So, like, the beginning is a little confusing. You just see for this, like, aerial bird's eye view shot of, like, it looks like just humans just mushing into each other in, like
That's the tomato festival. I
yeah,
think I don't know where in Italy or something. That's like a big festival. And
right.
it's also like it's uncomfortable images and tomatoes make a quite the appearance in the movie. I mean, she's hiding in the aisle at the grocery store and there's tomatoes behind her
Mm.
or like tomato soup. So like tomatoes like red really comes in a lot in this movie. Like you see like red paint, you see, the tomato aisle, tomato festival, and then like
Mhm.
the jelly from the sandwiches. Like things that normally wouldn't cringe you, but this movie did it and the
Oh,
music behind it.
dude, when he eats, like, I don't know what it is, like,
The chicken.
the date or something like that when he's, like, talking about the
Oh,
eyeball.
dude, I hate that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
brutal, but really quick before I forget,
Sorry.
the intro, it's such a contradiction to the ending because it's like it's a bunch of people that want to be together, and they're all, like, bumping into each other, and they're all there for a reason. It's uncomfortable because of how many people are there, but it's like they're all choosing to be there, and the end is all these people being brought together because of, like, a school shooting, and they have to all be crammed together and see this horrible thing happening. They're all
Mm,
so I don't know,
yeah.
man. I thought there was a nice contradiction there, or like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're in a crowd and having a good time compared to being in a crowd and having obviously a very bad time.
Yeah, so I
So that's the it's the stuff you don't see, but you picture it because your mind goes there. The bike locks, like he locks people in, so it's like, oh man, it's got to be like a terrible scene at the door of people trying to just get out. And
Ugh.
it's just the picturing that you do yourself is what really the movie gets you.
Yeah, it's hard to I mean, I compare this to The Good Son, but it's hard to really compare this to anything. It's because it's like watching a woman, like, relive her past, but her present's still happening, and you're like, "What is going on the whole time? Did she do something to this town?" I don't know, but I think the way that it all comes together at the end, it just pieces I don't know, yeah, you're right, your imagination has to put it together of seeing, like, what happened behind the scenes of everything we're not seeing.
Right, and, like, what was it, do you think? Do you think, like, she's fighting to get her son out of prison? I mean, that's what it feels like, right?
I don't know, man,
Like,
'cause
she's taking it to court, she's saying he was high off his mind in Prozac or something.
he said that.
Well, he was apparently too. So
Right.
they're trying to and he was a minor. So it's like they're gonna get this kid out, and she's still, like, going to visit him and stuff, so that's why the town actually hates her, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. He planned that Prozac thing and doing it 3 days before his birthday so that he get tried as a minor, like, that was intentional. But he is going to, like, the big prison now, and that's the thing, the last scene, I thought she went to the prison almost to, like, rub it in his face a little bit. That's what I got.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I think you're right, I think it's the opposite. I think it's like, "I'll
I
be
think
here
she's
when you get out."
still not giving up on him.
Yeah, I think you're right,
But
man.
but he does at the end shed one like, little thing of, "I thought I knew why I was doing these things, and I guess I don't know anymore." And so it gave her, like, that inch of hope that he's still good in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
It's really dark. It's really dark when you think about it.
but let me ask you this, why would she stay in the town?
Yeah, I come back to that movie, what's it called? Manchester by the Sea. Like, if something like that happened, you just get the hell out of that town, first and foremost. That was one thing that felt unrealistic to me. Like, how the hell is she still in that town? It's
Okay.
insane.
So these are the 2 glaring things in the movie to me. It's, yes, her staying in the town is one, but here's the other thing, and I don't know, and because we'll never know the answer to this, but why are they doing this to her? Is it because she's still going to see him?
Yeah.
How would they even know that, though?
I mean, we gotta think about it as how not to get into, like, real world killings, but a lot of the time when you hear of a killing, you think the parents neglected this kid and allowed this to happen. Their guns were they bought them the bow and arrow, they bought them the bike locks, they let him buy 10 bike locks. So you
Right.
feel like the parents have this responsibility, and it's like, well, the kid told the parents, I'm gonna sell them and to kids, they're high in demand, and he's tricking the parents, and it's like you see it happening, and you think when I think of killers, I think of neglect, and these are two of the most loving and caring parents, so that's why it flips the script a little bit in
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, it does. So it's like the outsiders don't really know what happened on the inside, and there's nobody that can be there to justify it except for her. Like, he killed the husband, he kills the daughter. There's no one else that could even be like, "No, we were good parents," aside from her, and no one's gonna
Mhm,
believe her.
mhm, and her
Oh,
husband's dead and the other kid's dead, so it's like, how could you let your kid do this, and why are you going to see him in the prison still, and why are you fighting for him to get out? Like, we don't know that she's doing that, but we can assume because she goes to court.
thinking about Tilda Swinton as her character, she was not ready to have a family, it looked like.
Right.
Like,
She
she
was living her young life and having fun.
yeah, just going off, being a traveling person, writing, doing all this stuff, smoking cigarettes, like, she was carefree, didn't care about anything, and it seemed like John C. Reilly was, like, reeling her back in, be like, "Hey, like, come back to, like, my world, and, like, we'll have a
Mhm.
family," and she didn't really want that. Maybe she would've in a couple years, but she didn't want it now, and she felt, like, resentful of her life, and
Yeah.
she did her best, like, she was a good mother at first, and then it just started crumbling, and then
Yep.
as Kevin gained consciousness, basically, I feel like he felt her resentment towards him on, like, a primal level, and then just, like, the mixture of, like, the psychology and the primal resentment just, like, created this sociopath.
Yeah, it's almost like killers aren't born killers, they're made killers. In this sense, the only thing we know is that Kevin had like a pretty rough childbirth from what it sounded like. And that's why he at that age, for him to be that shitty of a kid, not to say that, he was a shitty, come on.
Yeah.
But, like, even the crying, like, sh in order for her to deal with the crying, she would bring him to, like, a construction site, and she makes that note to the doctor, like, "I don't know, maybe he lost his hearing, and, his hearing's fine," because she felt guilty. "I brought him to a jackhammer and sat him there because I
Yeah.
couldn't take it." That's how you make a baby go deaf real quick. And it's like one of those things like, oh, she's kind of not taking the blame there for him maybe possibly being deaf. She's like, oh, maybe he's deaf. I don't know. Like it's like stuff like that you catch a little bit, and it's like, my
Yeah.
one criticism of this movie, I liked it. It made me think a lot. We see her go to that one doctor, and that's it. That's the only checkup he does really. Oh, he seems fine. He's reacting to everything. He doesn't have autism. He seems like fine. He's
Mhm.
just, going through some changes. Maybe he doesn't like the city. Maybe he needs a yard to play in. The amount of therapists you would need to take this particular kid to, and they have the resources by the looks of it. It just feels unrealistic. They would
Well,
take him to constant therapists. I would set up security cameras in the house to capture his actions
right, right, right.
and stuff like that to show these doctors like this is what I'm dealing with. It would go to that length. We only see the tidbits of it throughout his life. This is how this kid is 24/7. No, you're gonna go a little further above and beyond in my mind.
You're right with the camera thing, but dude, that's the thing that adds another layer to this is the kid is so smart that
Yep.
he manipulates the husband into thinking like, "Yo, she's crazy." Because at the end, when the girl loses her eye or whatever, and she says like, "It was Kevin," like, you see John C. Reilly finally snap, and he's just like, "You need to talk to somebody," and then he files for divorce. So it's
Yeah.
like, I bet, like, it's been slowly throughout the years creeping out. She'd say something, and John C. Reilly would be like, "Knock it off," and sort of thing, and then if
There's no way though. There's no way. Like
I know, but, like
it's just so unrealistic to think like she knows he put that guinea pig in the garbage disposal. She knows that he's the reason why their other daughter lost her eye. She knows like he is a monster,
I know,
and she doesn't go to great lengths to try to prove it. And like the husband's like, oh, he just
I
needs to do
know.
this. But and like the countless red flags are there for her to take better action. I think, and that's the only unrealistic thing I'd say. Like any parent in that situation, especially financially, would do a lot more. I think.
Yeah, I think the camera thing, you're right, like nanny cams and shit like that just to finally prove it, but I feel like he's too smart at the age where
When he's older, yes, but when he's younger, yeah, you want to get that stuff like the ball
yeah,
rolling and stuff like that. And he's not going to know to dismantle a camera or
yeah. But
I
you
mean,
also
maybe he will. Maybe that he's really that creepy where, when the mom like abused him and broke his arm,
mm,
his lie was mom left me for a minute and she didn't even tell him to say that. He just said it,
I know, because he's
and
dude, yeah.
yeah, that's the thing where it's just like this is too much. Like that's just too much.
Yeah, when he's older, he's well aware he can totally trick her, but when he's younger, it's like too yeah, you're right, it's like too much. It's like he's like a demon child that's like purposely from the youngest age possible is fucking with her. Like he
Yeah.
takes the ball, he shows her I can throw the ball. He then the math problems, he just does it really quick. He's like, just shut up, like sort of thing. And there's just all these little things that he just fucks with her, dude.
His room in general too. As a parent, it's like, don't you like? Do you want spaceships on your sheets or anything? Like his room is just a blue wasteland.
Right, yeah, it is weird, but, like, I think Tilda Swinton, like, as the mother, like, you probably don't want to believe these things. You're probably just like, he'll snap out of it, and then he shows her a little affection when he's what, like, 7? When he
With the
gets
Robin Hood book.
yeah, and I
It's
love
it's a lot. This movie's a lot. This
but
movie's a lot.
that's where you can think, like, okay, maybe Tilda Swinton's starting to, like, really open up and be like, "Okay, like, he's good, he's not bad," and then it just, like, slowly keeps fucking with her. Robin Hood 2, bow and arrow, just saying.
Yeah. Well, I heard that this was a book, and
Yeah,
in the book he uses a crossbow, even though he was given a bow and arrow or something in the book, but
mm,
he somehow ends up finding a crossbow, which makes more sense because picturing a I don't even want to picture it, but picturing using a bow and arrow in that way is just
ugh,
like how many could you take out? Like kind of it's a weird thing to think about. But a
yeah,
crossbow, I guess, would make like okay, that makes a little
mm,
I don't know. It's terrible things happen in this movie. It's a good movie, but man, does it
yeah.
go there?
What do you think about the scene where the kid in the wheelchair comes up and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going, Mrs. K?" And she's like, so like, what do you do in that moment where it's like,
What was that? Was it like an AA person? Who was
no,
that kid? I didn't pick that up.
he was one of the survivors that Kevin shot,
Uh
and he can't walk, dude, because of it. And he was like, "Yeah, like "The doctor say I can walk someday," and she's just like, "Oh,
I
that's
did
great."
not pick that up. I did not pick that up.
Ugh.
I literally that was when she's, like, walking out of the grocery store, or was that at work?
I think she's coming out of work. She's like, "I'll go get people lunch," and everyone just, like, kind of ignores her, and she's like, "Fuck," and she storms out.
I didn't pick that up. I thought it was gonna be, like, some self-help group she was involved with, and that was, like, one of the people, but man, that adds another layer to it too, that these people are going some of them are forgiving her, and some of them are ruining her life, like
Yeah, dude, and, like but you see her because she's not immediately like, "Hey," like, "Oh my god," like, "I'm so sorry," because, like, how do you
well,
say sorry for that? Because like, she didn't do it, you know? So it's like, she feels bad about it, but what does she do? Like, it's
to
such a
add another layer to the kid forgiving her and not the parents of these kids, those kids probably have interacted with Kevin and know just how
Hmm,
manipulative he was to the class.
okay.
So
Yeah,
that could add another layer, just like, oh, these kids know Kevin where the parents don't.
right.
So maybe the kid wants to forgive the mom more because he knows just how terrible of a person Kevin. You know what I mean? Like,
Well
get that?
dude, yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. But in the book, I read a little bit about it. There's a scene where Kevin orchestrates a like teacher getting arrested for like claiming that he sexually abused him and like all these other kids, and the mom is sure that this didn't happen and that Kevin orchestrated it. So there probably were more layers in the book of like students and their interactions with him
Yeah,
because we
because
don't get that like
this
at
stayed
all.
out of the school a lot. Like friends, any students, anything pretty much stayed out of the film except for that one scene now that you mention it. But
Yeah, but ugh, that's
yeah, yeah. Oh God.
'cause we don't know
Ugh.
anything about him, like, we don't know if he has a job, oh, wait, the bike lock thing, dude, where he's like when John C. Reilly's just like, "Oh, like, the next Donald Trump over here."
That was good. That was good.
Oh, that was so fucking funny. Like, in the context they're talking about him becoming a serial murderer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was
crazy.
I couldn't believe that, that was funny as hell. But yeah, John C. Reilly, what does he do? What does he do for work? They never talk about it.
He travels though, right?
No, that's her.
No.
She was
She
like
tra
a
she used to travel and Kevin made it. I don't know, I would imagine something cool, maybe a writer or
No,
something.
that's what she was, dude. She was like a travel writer because remember she had that book signing that she was gonna go.
Yeah,
So, she was like a really successful travel writer. I don't know what John C. Reilly did.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wanna know because they had a really nice house and all this cool shit.
I got a funny John C. Reilly story if you wanna hear it real quick.
I'd love to.
So, I went to Ireland, like, just as a let's get out of this movie for a second. I was in Ireland a few years ago with Shannon, and, we went to the Cliffs of Moher, and we took a tour bus, and the bus driver was, like, the funniest guy in the world, and he was just showing us, like, where some celebrities lived as we drove by them. He's like, "Oh, to your left is Ed Sheeran's house, also known as the Redhead Jesus," and he'd drive us along, and then he'd get to John C. Reilly's house, and he'd say something like, "Oh, to your left is John C. Reilly's house. Very handsome man if you don't know him." And I was like, "That's so mean." Like,
You think he's being sarcastic?
oh, he was like, "Oh, he's very handsome."
Oh,
Like,
okay. That is pretty
oh,
funny.
it's so mean. I was like, John C. Reilly's a good-looking guy. Come on.
I mean, okay, alright. I am not
We've seen a movie where he's like, "I look like Shrek." Like,
Yeah, that was Cyrus. Cyrus
oh,
did that.
right.
Dude, I love John Cena. I seriously because he's in a lot of, like, Martin Scorsese, like, Gangs of New York and The Aviator, and then he's in Boogie Nights, and then he's in this, and then he's in, so many amazing comedies that
Yeah.
you can't even list. Do
He's
not
like top 5 celebrities I'd want there to hang out with or have their number at least. I want John C. Reilly as my life coach. There you
Alright,
go.
well, I'm gonna say this, and this has nothing to do with his physical appearance, but you kinda remind me of him a lot of times.
What? I bet.
His personality.
I wish.
You
Dude, that's
just
the one of the nicest compliments you can give me. Yeah, I really would love him as my life coach. Just like,
Yeah.
you can lose 5 pounds. You can do it. You can do it. Like, I'm telling you, as your friend and your professional life coach, you just need to give up nachos for like a week and stop sitting on your butt watching Mindy Project. You can do it. And it's like, thanks, John C. Riley. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Like, I want that in my life, Alec.
I know, you can get that. Maybe on maybe he's on Cameo. Maybe you could pay him just be like, "Yo, if you be my life coach,
She's
I'll give
like,
you like"
life coach me for like $500 for a 30-second clip.
There you go. I don't know. I love him though. Yeah, he adds a whole 'nother layer to this movie, but he's
Yeah.
the only thing that makes you feel, like, good in this whole movie pretty much.
Yeah. He brings it back to like, oh, I like this guy. He
Uh,
makes like the unsettling feel settled again.
well, yeah, this is the other thing, man. I don't know, I'm looking way too deep into this, but her hair's black, his hair's black. He, like, eats his fucking fingernails or whatever and, like, puts them on the table. Then she does the same thing with the eggshells.
Uh,
And I'm like, "Is this just, like" a manifestation of, her darkness in her that's just, like, come out as a person? What happened? Because this isn't like
Dude, I was thinking the same thing, like, did she have a terrible past? Like, who are her parents? Like, I'm thinking, like, what is this shit? Did she, like, sell her soul to the devil to get her career? There's something there. Like, exactly, though. Like, she's very similar to Kevin and exactly opposite in some ways.
yeah, there's all these little weird parallels. Because like, with the eggshells and she's eating them, picking at them with the food, it looks just like the fingernails things he was doing. They have similar looks to them, and
Mhm.
it's so
So
weird.
unsettling. It's just so the whole movie is just like, I don't wanna take a shower."
Yeah,
Like,
because then you
lay
see.
down for an hour and just, like, not think about this movie. It's one of those things you gotta watch SpongeBob after. Clear the palate, like we've talked about.
Well, you look at it because like, he is, John C. Reilly is this nice, like, affable guy, and then his daughter's this, like, carefree, fun-loving girl, and then Kevin's this kind of, like, stoic, miserable guy, and she's kind of the stoic, miserable woman, but I don't know, it's weird. Oh, do you know where this took place?
Uh, like, Washington State? I don't know.
Dude, we're making so many weird little connections. So, last week was, House of the Devil, which was filmed in Connecticut, and this movie was filmed in Stamford, Connecticut.
No shit, really?
Yeah, I mean, think about it, 'cause they live in New York City, and then they moved to the suburbs, and Stamford is a suburb of New York City. And I was watching it because you see the license plates when they drive away, this says Connecticut. But I was, like, looking at the grocery store and kind of, like, even some of, like, the overcast skies, I was like, "Kinda looks like Connecticut a little bit."
Yeah. Yeah, the trees too, now you think about it. It felt kinda like Collinsville-esque almost. I don't know. What
Yeah,
town, though?
it
Like,
was Stamford.
the grocery store.
The grocery store just looked very familiar, so I was just like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it was
Well, dude,
Stamford.
I always say, Washington State is the West Pole to the East Pole of Connecticut. Like, they're together, they're tied, so that was a
Yeah,
decent guess.
I know, I know.
Exact opposite of the US, but yeah. I
Well,
got a sequel idea.
oh, let's hear it.
We need to talk about Buster.
Is that the gerbil?
So no, no, it's so she's, like, going through some shit, and she's like, "You know what? I need to add to my family." She gets a dog with her new, like, friends and her new husband and kids, but, whenever Tilda Swinton is with the dog alone, he, like, ruins her day, like, tears up her new book or, like, looks her in the eye and shits on her laptop keyboard, like, stuff like that, and it's like, it's all the dog now, and it's like, "Oh." I don't
And
know.
it's like the friendliest dog
It's
whenever
like a
people know
poodle.
her. It's just a black poodle because it, like, kinda looks like her hair too. It's just like, "What the fuck?" And it's
That
like
that dog's evil, and they're like, "This is the nicest dog ever." Like, "What are you
yeah,
talking about?"
like, she's so mean when the door's shut and then, like, somebody walks in, it runs up, starts licking. It's like, "Hey!" It's like,
The
"Oh, I love
second the
it."
kids got on the bus, the dog's like, like, barking constantly, like,
Yeah.
never stops.
Oh my god. That'd be pretty actually, that'd be a really funny, like, SNL, like, spoof, like, sorta thing.
As my dog's literally going off right now. That's funny. Stop it. Stop it. That's kinda wow, okay,
That is
now I'm
so funny.
scared. I that was unintentional. It's probably the noises I was just making.
Well, I
Now I'm
don't
scared. Okay, okay, now I'm scared, but yeah.
That's a good idea. That'd be a funny sketch. This movie did not do very well financially, so I don't think there will be a sequel, but it
No.
did yeah, so well, honestly, though, for an indie film with these kind of actors, I don't really know how promote this, but budget was 7,000,000, made 10. I don't know. I think it deserved a lot more credit than it got, but I can understand why it doesn't have, like, mass appeal, really.
Yeah. I mean, it does have John C. Reilly, which is a big deal. And then if you look at the poster, and this is where I thought it was a comedy. It looks like Friends with Benefits or something, and they're just sitting on the couch all like sad, and there's like a smiley face balloon behind it. I was like, oh, it looks kind of like a funny movie.
Dude,
And
it
John
looks
C. Reilly's on the poster. I'm like, oh, definitely.
There's a movie called, like, My Brother Jeff or something like that, with Ed Helms and, Jason Segel, and the poster looks exactly like this, and it's kind of that's a comedy. It says, "Jeff Who Lives at Home."
Yeah,
If
that's
you ever
why I was like, oh, is this a comedy? That's no.
dude, yeah, look at the poster to Jeff Who Lives at Home, and then look at the poster to We Need to Talk About Kevin, and you'd probably think like, "Okay, these could both be kind of like indie comedies."
It took me a while to be like, "Oh, this is definitely not a comedy." Like 20 minutes into the
You're
movie, I'm like,
kidding.
"Hmm."
20
Nah,
minutes?
I don't even know honestly. Like at first, it was like, "Okay, tomato, like something weird's happening," and I was like, "Oh, this is not going to go the way I thought it was."
It did not
Like,
take you 20
it didn't take me
minutes.
20 minutes, but I was like, "Yeah, this isn't." I'm just expecting John C. Reilly to bust through the door and be like, "What's up? We have a kid now. Let's have fun." Like,
No. No, you're getting buckets of paint thrown at the house, trick-or-treaters coming
true,
to, like, rip
true.
your house apart. Well, she lost the house, but why did she have to move into, like, a complete shithole? Like, it seemed like she still had money, and I'm sure she had, like, a life insurance policy on her husband and stuff, like
Yeah, court fees. I don't know. I don't know. I really maybe she had to hire like some super duper lawyer.
to what though? She didn't do this.
She's trying to get her son out, I think. I
Ah,
still think, and like in order to that defense team must be like top tier.
she
I
didn't do
don't
anything
know.
though, dude.
I
I
don't
know,
know.
I know.
That's the part of this movie. Like I don't have the answers.
So he killed I think he killed 7 people, I believe, if I read it right. So
Plus his sister and John C. Riley are
no,
included.
no, actually, so 9. I think he killed 7 people at the school.
Okay.
So here's the thing, if this let's just say, God forbid, this happened in our hometown, I don't think that a woman would just be completely ostracized and treated this way. I really don't. I really think that, like, if especially if her
Mm.
husband and her daughter got killed too by this kid. It's not like this was I don't wanna
I
talk
go back to the Manchester by the Sea kind of movie as well, which is also a terribly sad movie. They kind of like say like, why can't you watch your kids?" Like people are so quick to judge in general, I think, and that's a problem we have. But the compassion's one thing, but I mean, if she's trying to get her son out of prison, I would have a different layer. Like, no, you shouldn't.
They
Like,
need to say that then because it really it hurts the movie not knowing why everybody's treating her so terribly. If it would be like, "I can't believe you're trying to get that monster out," like that one line.
yeah, that would have done it for me. Then
If
it's like,
yeah,
okay, there's a motive to why people are this shitty.
yeah, because it sits there where you're like, "Why is everybody treating her so shitty?" And the kids are yelling KK, and I was like, "Does that mean killer?" Whatever her last name is like it's like
Oh, look,
Kabargarkian or something?
look, she already probably has the bad parenting target on her back by her daughter losing her eye and not being watched. You
Yeah.
know, there's already it's like, dude, there's so many layers to this movie, and it's so unsettling and
Oh,
so uncomfortable.
do you think that he orchestrates this whole thing because they're getting divorced?
No, I think he had this planned all along, and he's just using that along with it. Maybe he orchestrated the divorce, even like
Well, he did basically.
I
She
know, yeah, exactly, and he's playing into that, and it's like parents are getting divorced. Like that's why he did this to the school. You know, like
ugh,
it's like one of those things where it's just like, damn.
yeah,
It's
man.
like oh, I don't know. Not don't even want to think about it. Don't want to go there, you know. But it's like if this bring it to reality, it's like there's no way. There's no way. But like this movie does such a good job. Like no, like this could have happened. It's like damn, you know.
Ugh, yeah, man. Yeah. Also, like the last shot or whatever, where you start to see him kind of like questioning why he did this to begin with, and all this stuff. He's got all these like scars on his head, and you're like,
I think that's just the shitty haircuts the prison give.
no, because he's got these. It looks like the hair can't grow there anymore. So I bet he's getting the
You
shit
getting
kicked out of
fucked
him.
up, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
because he's a skinny little guy. I bet he's getting
Yeah.
knocked the fuck around in there, and now he's going to jail. So you can see his face in, like, that scene where she's just like, "I might not see you again, like, this could be it, but, like, I'm here when you get out," sort of thing, like,
It's wild. It's wild.
yeah, it's fucked up. This is not
Maybe him showing that compassion's also fake too. Maybe that's more manipulation. Like I thought I knew what I was doing, and now I don't anymore. And maybe
mm,
that's like even more deeper into his bullshit.
fuck, yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, it really gets that far. It
Well, the
really goes
last
that far.
the last thing I just wanna talk about is when the scene where he's like I don't know if he's talking to a camera or what he's talking about, but he's just like, "You think people would care about me if I got an A in geometry?" It's like they're here, they're fascinated by me, like, sort of thing. It's like he's playing up this fascination people have with, like, fucking SVU and 2020 and 48 Hours and all these, like, TV shows, these murder
Which
mystery
again
shows.
makes the parents look bad. Like, well, how could you let your kid watch this if he had these kinds of thoughts?
Right, I think he's playing into the fascination that people have with murderers, and he's very well aware of it. And dude, even the last scene where he finally comes out when the police have everything, it sounds almost like the Beatles, like, at the Ed Sullivan Show when they're, like, screaming when he comes out, like, "Yeah!" Like, it's like a rock star or something like that, and then it turns into, like,
Yeah,
horrible screams. So it's like, ugh,
it's very true how they kind of notoriously, but like the names become famous in that way, and
yeah.
we know the names of some big killers, and I mean, look at all the Netflix documentaries coming out,
Oh
and
my god.
it's just
I mean, I'm
you know,
guilty of it too. I watch those documentaries,
you
but it's
bet, you bet,
But it's so int I mean, I think it's more just because like, this is such an anomaly, not like, I aspire to be like this person, like but there are people clearly that aspire to be like this, which is just so fucking nuts.
yeah. It's
Ah.
a it's yeah, it's dude, I need to go take a shower and first I gotta spin the wheel.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Yeah, spin the wheel. Let's get a fun
let's
movie.
get the hell out of here. Oh god. It's this movie was a lot.
Let's
Yeah.
get the hell out of here. We don't need to talk about Kevin anymore.
If anyone wants to find John C. Reilly on Cameo, by all means. Life coach him and tell him me to lose weight. Pet Cemetery. There you go. Hey,
Hey,
there you go. There you go.
sweet. This is a little goofier than than this.
I think I
Um,
spelt it wrong on the wheel that we post.
you did. I noticed that. You
Yeah.
did. We have a guest for this. We have James Boylan, who I have not talked to in a long time, but I'm really excited to get him on here.
And this is the original Pet Cemetery.
Yes, from '84, I believe. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. All right. Well, I could be totally wrong. Is it 48 or 84? Anyways, we'll see everybody next week for Pet Cemetery.
Woo!